Have you ever found yourself asking, God, why? Why do you allow such bad things to happen? If you're so good, why do you allow these bad things to happen to me or to the people that we love? You know, I've spent a lot of time in this prayer chapel praying about that, and I've talked with people who are struggling with that. And at times like this, they come to God and they ask questions, they ask why. And it's good to come to God. It's good to ask the questions. But we do have the answers. Now, it's not always the answer we think is the right one, but it's actually better than what we think. Let me explain. In John chapter 9, we see a story about Jesus and his followers, and they're walking along and they see a man who was born blind. And they ask him, Lord, why was this man born blind? Was it his fault? Was it his sin, or was it his parents? They think it has to be somebody's fault. But in verse 3, Jesus says it was neither his parents or him, but rather this was done so that God's work could be displayed in his life. Now, that sounds good, but think about it. I don't know any other way you can interpret this, but it means that God created him on purpose, born blind, to live with that to adulthood, till he could come to this place where Jesus could heal him, and then Jesus would get the glory. Now, it ends well, but it's a life of hardship. It's a life of suffering and difficulty. And that doesn't always square with us. We ask the questions about why. But the good news is that it shows that God is doing things on purpose. Yes, we live in a broken world. Yes, we're going to go through hard times. But Jesus has confirmed this for us. He says, yes, in this world you'll have trouble, but take heart. I've overcome the world. And he's using the things of this world, all things according to the scripture, for a greater good. In fact, I encourage you to look up Romans 8:28. And it says this, for God works all things together for the good for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. Now, I hope you made that connection, because a lot of times in the suffering, we don't think there's purpose. There can't be anything good that comes from it. But Jesus says, again, all things for God's purpose. So even in the struggle that you're going through, I realize it may not seem like there's a purpose or any good to it. We may not even understand it. But God has promised us that he's working all things together for the good. So it's good to turn to God. Even turn to him and cry out in your pain. Even Jesus did that when he was on the cross and he said, why have you forsaken me, Lord? But in the turning, we draw closer to God. And in that moment, Jesus chose in his suffering to trust in God. I encourage you to do the same. Cry out to him with your pain. Go to him with your questions. But make sure you turn to him and draw closer and continue to choose to say, but even in my pain, I'm going to let God have his way, because his way is best and I trust him. So trust him in your decisions, especially in your suffering, and you'll find that he'll comfort you, and you can know for sure that he's working it to a greater purpose. I appreciate you watching this video. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to share those with me. And again, we'll continue to pray together about how God's working all things together for the good. Thanks for watching.